Hello everybody. Now today we will talk about surface chemistry, which is the fifth chapter of our textbook. Now what is surface chemistry? It is the chemistry which deals with the phenomena that occurs at surface or interface. Means if we have suppose the surface of the liquid or the solid, then only on the surface of the liquid or solid whatever phenomena takes place, surface chemistry deals with those. Clear? Now in this chapter we are going to study some of the surface phenomena. First of all, we will go for the examples of surface phenomena. They are adsorption, then heterogeneous catalysis, corrosion, electrode reactions. Corrosion and electrode reactions we have already talked in the chapter of electrochemistry. In this chapter, we will discuss certain surface phenomena which will include adsorption and heterogeneous catalysis. Clear? Now let us talk about adsorption. What is adsorption? Adsorption is the accumulation or increase in the concentration of molecular species only at the surface level rather than in the bulk of a solid or a liquid is known as adsorption. I repeat, adsorption is the accumulation of the molecular species at surface level rather than in the bulk of the solid or liquid. Clear? Okay. Now in order to study adsorption, we need to study these two terminology. One is adsorbent and the other is adsorbate. Now what is called adsorbate? Adsorbate means that molecular species which accumulates or which concentrates on the surface of the solid. Clear? So that molecular species, that substance which accumulates is known as adsorbate. For example, this is the duster. Suppose I rub the board with this duster, and if I am using chalk, clear, instead of using the such pen, so if I am using chalk, then chalk dust will get deposited on the surface of this duster. So here this chalk dust is known as adsorbate. So the molecular species or the substance that accumulates, that concentrates on the surface of the solid or liquid is known as adsorbate. Clear? And the material on the surface of which adsorption takes place is known as adsorbent. So here in this example, this duster is adsorbent. Clear? So on the surface of the duster, adsorption of chalk dust takes place. So in this example, chalk dust is adsorbate and this duster is adsorbent. Got it? Okay. Now there are some examples of adsorbent. Generally, finely divided solid substance is good adsorbent. Why? Because in a finely divided form, the surface area of the substance increases and so the rate of adsorption increases. Clear? It means that finely powdered or finely divided metals, then silica gel, alumina gel, clay, charcoal, colloids, these are all good examples of adsorbent. Clear? Suppose I take a lump of a charcoal, clear, and if I take powder charcoal. So in both, if we compare the adsorption which is taking place on surface of both, then it is always found that on the surface of powder charcoal always adsorption is more. Clear? Because it increases with increase in the surface area of adsorbent. Clear? Okay. Then some other important terminologies are absorption. Now we are all familiar with the word absorption. Absorption means the substance it penetrates into the bulk of the solid or the liquid. That is called absorption. Clear? In adsorption, the material or the substance, it remains only on the surface of adsorbent. Clear? And it will not penetrate through the surface into the bulk. It remain only on the surface. If I again take the example of this duster, then chalk dust will remain only on the surface. It will not go into the bulk of this duster. Clear? So this is adsorption. But if something goes into the bulk, it is called absorption. Clear? So these two are different phenomena. We can say that adsorption is a surface phenomena and absorption is a bulk phenomena. It takes place in the bulk. Clear? Okay. Then comes desorption. Desorption means when chalk dust, they get adsorbed on the surface of the duster. Now by applying some techniques, this chalk dust can also be removed from the surface of this duster. Clear? So removal of the substance from the surface is known as a desorption. Got it? So desorption is opposite to adsorption. Adsorption means increase in the concentration on the surface. Clear? And desorption means decrease in the concentration from the surface. Got it? So both are opposite phenomena. Then comes sorption. Sorption means in some cases, in some examples, adsorption and absorption both will take place simultaneously. Let us take a very simple example. Suppose I have a glass filled with blue ink, blue or black ink. In that glass, suppose I insert chalk stick. Clear? I hold the chalk stick vertically in that glass filled with ink. After some time, when I take out the chalk stick, then it is observed, if I break the chalk, then it is observed that black or blue ink particles, they are found only on the outer surface of the chalk. Clear? Inside the chalk, there is no ink particle, there is no blue or black color particle. But the solvent which is present in the ink, it is absorbed throughout the bulk of the chalk. Means inside the chalk, when we break the chalk, then inside the chalk it is wet. Clear? But it is clean, it is white and wet. But outer surface of the chalk is colored, either blue or black depending on the color of the ink. So here in this example, adsorption of ink particle on the surface of the chalk and absorption of the solvent inside the chalk both have taken place simultaneously. So this is the example of sorption. So sorption is that phenomenon in which absorption and adsorption will occur simultaneously. Let us take one more example. Suppose we have moisture present in some container. Clear? Means the water vapor is present in that container. Now in container which is having water vapor, if I place anhydrous calcium chloride as well as silica gel, both are placed inside that container and then container is closed. After some time, when I take out the calcium chloride, clear, calcium chloride, then I can feel that it is wet. Clear? But if I take silica gel, then and if I cut silica gel, then I will find that water droplets are present only on the surface of silica gel, but inside the silica gel it is dry. Clear? So here in one container we have put two different adsorbents. One is the silica gel, the other is anhydrous calcium chloride. In case of calcium chloride, absorption of water vapor has taken place. In case of silica gel, adsorption of water vapor has taken place. So both the phenomena have occurred in the same container. So this is also the example of sorption. Clear? Okay. Now let us go for the mechanism of adsorption. Adsorption, as I told you, is a surface phenomenon. Here we will talk about the adsorption of the gas on the surface of a solid. Clear? Now when adsorption occurs on the surface of a solid, then actually what happens? So here let us talk about, in case of solid, the molecules inside the bulk, they are uniformly attracted by each other. Clear? Means the atom or the molecule present surrounding the given atom or the molecule in the bulk of the solid is same. and that is why the forces acting on each molecule present in the bulk of the substance or the solid, they are mutually balanced. But if we talk about the surface particles or surface molecules, then these surface molecules are attracted from three sides, means right, left and the bottom, but their upper sides are free. So the attractive forces acting on the surface particles or molecules are not balanced. Clear? So they have imbalanced or residual attractive forces, and due to these residual attractive forces they possess some energy which is known as surface energy. So due to this surface energy, the surface molecules or the surface as a whole of the solid substance will act like a magnet. It will attract adsorbate molecules towards itself. Clear? Now when adsorbate molecules are attracted towards the surface of adsorbent, then what will happen? These imbalanced forces, residual forces will get balanced. And when they get balanced, there will be decrease in the surface energy. Clear? So here, due to adsorption, surface energy of the molecule decreases. Clear? Now this decrease in energy is always anticipated in the form of heat, means heat will be liberated. Clear? So when the heat is liberated, we can say that adsorption is an exothermic process. Clear? So when adsorption takes place, when adsorbate molecules get adsorbed on the surface of adsorbent, then there is always decrease in the surface energy, means there is a release of energy, release of heat. So adsorption is an exothermic process. So we can say that in terms of or according to thermodynamics, we can say that delta H, that is enthalpy of adsorption, is negative. Clear? Now suppose we talk about adsorption of gas on the surface of a solid. Now gas molecules, they are randomly moving in all possible directions, but when they get adsorbed on the surface of the solid, then their randomization will decrease. Clear? Means disorder present in their motion will decrease. And so we can say that in terms of thermodynamics, that entropy of gas will decrease when adsorption takes place. So with the progress of adsorption, there is decrease in enthalpy and there is decrease in entropy also. Clear? Now in order to be, for any process to be spontaneous, it is always necessary that delta G, that is free energy, Gibbs free energy, must be negative. So according to the equation, delta G is equal to delta H minus T delta S. As I told you, in case of adsorption, delta H decreases, means it is becoming negative, and delta S is also decreasing, so it is also becoming negative. It means that this term will become positive. Clear? Minus T delta S, in which delta S is also negative. So this term will become positive. It means that if adsorption has to be spontaneous, if delta G has to be negative for adsorption, then delta H must have sufficiently large negative value. Clear? So in the beginning of adsorption, that delta H is sufficiently large so that delta G becomes negative and adsorption becomes a spontaneous process. But as adsorption proceeds, then the decrease in enthalpy, the value of enthalpy will become less and less negative, and at one particular juncture it will become same as T delta S. Now here T delta S is positive. So if delta H, which is already negative, so if this delta H becomes equal to T delta S, then in that case delta G will be equal to 0. Clear? It means that saturation has taken place or equilibrium has been attained. So when delta G becomes equal to 0, then after that no more adsorption will take place. If we want adsorption to be continued, then desorption must take place. Clear? Means the or adsorbate molecules which are adsorbed on the surface, now they must be removed from the surface so that further adsorption can take place. Clear? So here we can say the mechanism of adsorption. It is again important topic for 2 marks question. So at constant temperature and pressure, delta G will become 0 when delta H value will become less and less negative with the progress of adsorption, and ultimately delta H and T delta S will become same, and so as they are opposite in sign, so delta G will become 0 and equilibrium will be attained. Clear? Okay. Then the next topic is about types of adsorption. Adsorption is of 2 types. One is physical adsorption, which is also called physisorption, and the other is chemical adsorption or chemisorption. Now let us discuss the difference in both the types of adsorption. First is physical adsorption takes place due to van der Waals force of attraction. Van der Waals force of attraction is a weak attraction and it is a universal force of attraction. It exists everywhere. Clear? So whenever the adsorbate is capable of forming, or it is attracted easily by the adsorbent molecule due to van der Waals force of attraction, then physical adsorption will take place. So we can say that in physical adsorption there is a weak van der Waals force of attraction between adsorbate and adsorbent. Clear? But in chemisorption, a strong chemical bond is formed between adsorbate and adsorbent. As van der Waals force is a universal force, so every adsorbate can form easily the van der Waals bond with adsorbent. But the chemical bond, generally this type of strong bond is formed by only few adsorbate molecules with adsorbent. Clear? Because this chemical bond is either covalent or ionic. So very few adsorbate molecule can form chemical or ionic bond with adsorbent. So in chemical adsorption there is a chemical bond between adsorbate and adsorbent. Second point of difference is physical adsorption is not specific. Clear? Means to some extent there is always physical adsorption. It doesn't require any strong chemical bond between adsorbate and adsorbent, and that is why we can say that physical adsorption is not specific. It can take place very easily. But chemical adsorption is highly specific, because only those adsorbate molecule which can form strong chemical bond with adsorbent molecule, only in that case chemical adsorption is possible. Clear? So this is highly specific. Then third point of difference is physical adsorption is reversible. If we talk about the adsorption of gas on the surface of a solid, then we can say that if we increase the pressure of the gas, then more adsorption will take place. Clear? So physical adsorption generally it occurs at high pressure and low temperature. It means that if we reverse the condition, then desorption will take place. It means if we decrease the pressure, then desorption will take place. If we increase the temperature, then also desorption will take place. Clear? So physical adsorption is reversible in nature. If we change the temperature or pressure, then desorption is also possible, and that is why it is reversible in nature. But chemical adsorption is irreversible. Once the strong chemical bond is formed between adsorbate and adsorbent, then it is extremely difficult to carry out desorption, and that is why it is irreversible. Then fourth point is physical adsorption depends on nature of gas. This also depends on nature of gas. Generally, physical adsorption is more easy for those gases which are easily liquefiable, and we know that gases are easily liquefiable at their critical temperature. So the gases which have higher critical temperature, they are easily liquefiable, and at critical temperature van der Waals attraction is strong. Clear? So van der Waals bond is stronger at critical temperature. Clear? And that is why the this physical adsorption, it depends on the nature of the gas, but those gases which are easily liquefiable, they can be adsorbed more. Clear? So this point is same for both. Then fifth point, low adsorption enthalpy. It is approximately 20 to 40 kilojoule per mole. Why it is so? Because in physical adsorption, weak van der Waals force of attraction is involved. Clear? Weaker is the attraction between adsorbate and adsorbent, less will be the energy released. Clear? And so low adsorption enthalpy. Here stronger chemical bond is between adsorbate and adsorbent, and so more energy is released. So it has higher adsorption enthalpy, approximately 80 to 240 kilojoule per mole. Here, as we discussed here, low temperature is favorable. If temperature increases, then physical adsorption will decrease. Why? Because desorption will take place. But in case of chemical adsorption, higher temperature is favorable. Clear? Now why? So here I have written that no appreciable activation energy. Means physical adsorption can take place even at lower activation with lower activation energy also. Clear? It doesn't require any specific activation energy, and that is why we can say that it is more favorable at low temperature. Clear? But in case of chemical adsorption, as the activation energy is higher, means more amount of energy is required in order to undergo adsorption by adsorbate and adsorbent. Clear? So more activation energy is required, and we have studied in the chapter of chemical kinetics that with increase in the temperature, activation energy can be decreased. So for chemical adsorption, higher activation energy is essential, and so if we want to lower down this activation energy, then higher temperature is favorable. Clear? Okay. Then physical adsorption depends on surface area. This also depends on surface area. Clear? How it depends on surface area? As I told you here, that if we take powder form of the adsorbent, then more adsorption will take place. Clear? So the extent of adsorption, it depends on the surface area per unit mass of adsorbent. I repeat, the extent or the rate of adsorption depends on the surface area per unit mass of adsorbent. For example, if I take 1 gram of charcoal and if I crush that charcoal, now in 1 gram of charcoal I have many particles because divided into the powder. Clear? So surface area increases in case of powder charcoal. So more adsorption will take place. So this point is also same for both of them. And the ninth and the last point is, this physical adsorption results in multimolecular layer under high pressure. Clear? So if the pressure of the gas, means the adsorbate, is increased, then more and more gas will get adsorbed on the surface of the solid. Clear? So by increasing the pressure, under higher pressure, gas can form multimolecular layers. Clear? Simple example, again I take this the example of this duster. So if I for the first time when I rub the board with this duster, then one layer of chalk dust will be formed. But if I don't clean the surface, and if I keep using it again and again, then what will happen? Layers and layers of this chalk dust will be formed on the surface of duster. So after some time, what will happen? I cannot rub very cleanly with this duster, so I need to clean the surface of this duster. Clear? So here also, as in physical adsorption, weak van der Waals force of attraction is involved between adsorbent and adsorbate, so multimolecular layers can be formed. But here, in case of chemical adsorption, strong chemical bond is required between adsorbate and adsorbent, so unimolecular layer is formed. Once the adsorbate is strongly attracted by adsorbent, once it forms covalent or ionic bond with adsorbent, then it is difficult to remove it. Clear? And if it is not removed from the surface of adsorbent, then obviously no more molecules of adsorbate can get adsorbed on the surface, and so no more adsorption will take place. So chemical adsorption results in a unimolecular layer but physical adsorption results in multimolecular layer. Clear? So with this, the difference between or the characteristics of physical and chemical adsorption is over. This topic can be asked in 3 marks question that differentiate between physical and chemical adsorption, or you can be asked out of 9 properties, you can be asked any 2 or 3 properties to explain in detail. Clear? So that type of question can also be asked. So this is all for today. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.